Hi there, it's Jenny from Southern Savers. It's Monday night and our weekly Q&A. This week we are talking organizing your pantry and your freezer, also known as organizing your stockpile. So in terms of couponing and the in thing 20 years ago, what I'm seeing more come back, when I say organizing your pantry, everything that we purchase literally fits in my pantry. So I want to start there. This is not a video on how to organize your garage. So part of saving money is spending less money. We have to start there. So I don't encourage anyone to head out and purchase, a plethora of anything that is more than you will use for the next 6 weeks. So in terms of organizing your pantry or your freezer, we're really looking at organizing about 6 weeks worth of particular items. Now, why 6 weeks? We really covered that a couple weeks ago, but it is the basics. Everything will go on sale in your store every 6 weeks. So I don't need to walk in and buy, 40 bottles of laundry detergent. We see the same deals every month on laundry detergent, guys. So please don't, if you see it, there are always going to be folks that do this, but please don't feel like that is required for saving money. It's not. And if you've reached that point, I am not your person to organize that kind of stockpile because you're basically organizing a store. That's how much you own. So for me, I will tell you my laundry items, they fit in my laundry room, and my pantry, canned and packaged items actually fit in my pantry. So we're not looking at excessive ways to store items. We're looking at how do we store 6 weeks worth of food. Make sure that we're using the oldest thing first, right? I think we all hit points where we maybe bought a little too much of something and you're starting to realize like, oh, this expired in 2023 and it's 2025. I actually just did this. I just cleaned out. We have kind of like a kitchen medicine cabinet, and then I have a medicine cabinet in my bathroom. But we see so many deals on vitamins and zinc. And as a mom of 5 kids, I'm like, we need every cold remedy there is. But there's a point where you have more than you need, right? So I just cleaned all of this out on Sunday and put them in bins and labeled them. But there was some purging as I realized like, whoa, this is well past its date. I am not one to be like the second that it is expired, it's bad. Dates are very gray in my book. But once we hit a few years out, it's time to clean that out. But the problem there is even for me, I bought more than I needed of that item. So whenever I do that, even if I got that at a great price, that was still 50 cents that just hit the trash can or whatever you're gonna do with those things. So just keep that in mind. The more that we're buying, if we're not donating it, it's really, if it's not gonna get used, it was really a waste of our money rather than a savings of our money. So we're looking at 6 weeks worth of items. Now, another big point here, having an organized pantry is actually a huge way to save you money, because if I know that I have a plethora of something, I will stop buying it, right? So this is one that we can tell ourselves 1,000 times. It doesn't mean that the pantry organizes itself, but it might be something that if you're in my boat, my kids unload the groceries a lot of times. They're the ones putting things in the pantry, but impressing upon them how important it is that we put things away on the right shelf, that we put them away, even pushing some of the older things to the front, and we put these new things in behind, telling them why. It's important for mama to know how much we have. And the older your kids get, this becomes very vivid to them because they're gonna come and say, I wanna bake this, or hey mom, we don't have any more. I always joke like, well, whoever does the shopping really needs to solve that problem. It's me. But it's also a little bit of whoever put away the groceries, because if I can't stand in the pantry and see what we're running low on, then I don't notice that I need to buy that when that deal pops in. So big reason to keep your pantry semi-organized. The best way to do that, and when I say pantry, some of you may literally have like the tiniest closet in the world. That's okay. It's really that everything has a place. That's the biggest way to organize any space, so that your whole family knows this is where the cereal is going to live. And maybe you have this much space for cereal. Maybe you have a whole shelf. It's going to look different for every family. But that is where the cereal is going to live. That is where the canned items are going to live. So that when we put away groceries, we know where to put them. It's that simple. You can put labels out if that's what it takes in your family. But most of the time, they're going to clue in to the plan pretty quickly. So I will show you guys one thing that we use, and I actually sent a kid while I was really quickly eating dinner. Mondays we're like rolling in from other things. I sent a kid and I said, go take a picture of this in the pantry really fast. And she came back with like 10 pictures of this, artsy. So this is the one we're choosing for the night. But it is an example. This is a go-to product. I think anybody who is buying enough for 6 weeks, this is a big way for you to have some organization on your canned items. Right now it's still not organized exactly how I would like it, but I've learned to just close my eyes to some of the chaos and be thankful that I have people that help unload my groceries for me. I at least have like items in each row, except for this guy. We're not really gonna point out I only own 1 can of Sloppy Joe mix and we randomly put it in with lima beans. That's okay. The point is, I can see, oh, my diced tomatoes are right here. My kidney beans are here. I can see how many of those items I have. This particular can organizer will hold about 4 going back. The top row, if I've got extras, I can kind of stack them on just because there's a little bit more room between it and the next shelf. But I highly recommend grabbing one of these. This one is off of Amazon, and I will stick in the chat a post that I did a while back. I'm actually going to repost it sometime this week, bring it back to the top of the page. But the can organizer that I just shared with you is in this post. So if you're wanting that particular one, you can grab it. So it's 8 ways to organize your pantry, and you will see it as you scroll down for what one I'm talking about here. So you can see it in the list. It's a can rack. There's a number of options on Amazon. The big thing that you're looking for is it sturdy? So look at people's reviews. I don't want to build the thing and have it all fall over, right, with all those cans in it. Ours does have these little plastic connectors, and I use them mostly for my children. It's a guide to get them to be like, this is the lane for 1 row of cans, but it's not required to its security or stability at all. It's just there to kind of divide up sections. But this is a huge piece. I think the going price when I grabbed it was maybe about $30. I didn't click through the link to see what they currently are priced. We own 2. So Sarah took a picture of one of them for you. I have 2 of them because we've got a lot of canned veggies, a lot of our basic canned soups, like this is cream and mushroom soup, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, and then I also have a number of just cans of soup as well, canned fruit. So there's a bit that lives in there, and 2, we started with 1, but 2 was where we needed to go. Again, we're buying enough for 6 weeks on any grocery items. So for most of the things that we're buying, 4 to 5 is enough. If I went more than that, I would probably just keep them down on the bottom, like floor of the pantry under the lowest shelf, and then just replenish as needed. But it's an easy way to, again, see everything that we have, see what we're running low on, take inventory in a sense before I go to the store. Now, I do want to emphasize one way that we're shopping here. Just because I'm out of something on a particular shelf does not mean that I'm going to buy it that week. Remember, our goal is to only buy it when it's on sale. So I really want to pop into the pantry using the list of what is on sale this week, pull up Southern Savers on an iPad, I don't know, whatever you need to do. Use the list of what is on sale and look at your pantry like, hey, are we low on that? That's buy one, get one this week. Or that's part of a Kroger mega event this week, and assess where you are. So there are always gonna be moments. We've been doing this for almost 20 years. Always moments where I think we're good and then we're not. So this week that actually hit us on Saturday night. My 17-year-old goes and stands in the pantry. She's like, Mama, I've looked everywhere and there's no ketchup in this pantry and there's no ketchup in the fridge. And that is one of those items that is really hard for me to imagine how we managed to run out because ketchup is always on sale. But it's an easy solution. Ketchup is buy one, get one. This is the end of Labor Day week. I can solve that. We can run in and grab ketchup. Doesn't always work that way though, that someone's gonna come to you and say, we're out of it, and you can immediately find that sale to go with it. So again, I'm not standing in the pantry and just making a list of everything we're out of this week, planning to purchase it at the store. I'm more using the pantry as a guide. What am I getting low on? What do I need to be watching as the sales pop back around to make sure that we're staying stocked on those items? And hello to everyone that is chiming in. Sorry, I did not pull up my chat over on the side. It's good to see you guys join me, Sue and Lily and Anna and Nurka. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong, but I'm always glad to have you guys join me. So my can rack is my go-to. We have moved with one. I just always had one in our pantry. The other big thing that has been a go-to for us lately has become these guys. So this is a really big one. My husband just ordered more. Really without asking. I was like, what's the plan here? That's really big. But I have another go-to. These, I don't even know how much he paid. I don't want to know. He didn't ask. But my go-to is actually a product that Target sells and they regularly put on sale. They're not on sale right now, but they do regularly put these on sale. Their normal price at $5 and $6 is not a bad price. But we will see them go 30% off. We've seen occasional 40% offs on these Y-weave baskets. So these baskets in particular live in my freezer and they have become a big go-to in my freezer. I'm buying, I think I grabbed maybe 4 of this size and 3 of that size, but really, really thankful that I did. And I did that about 1.5 years ago. So we have a stand-up freezer. If you have a chest freezer, I have a different way that I would recommend you organize your freezer. But in a stand-up freezer, meaning that we have shelves and I open a door and I can see all the shelves, my problem is that we're buying enough hamburger and chicken to sometimes last a couple of months. We're buying in bulk. That is usually the best price. So heading to the Chef's store, which is right down the road, it's a restaurant supply store, getting 40 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, gonna come home, vacuum seal that up. Well, keeping that straight and in an orderly fashion in the freezer doesn't always work, but going to bins has actually been huge for us. So for a long time, we would literally keep it in the cardboard box that it came in and we would just slide the cardboard box onto the shelf. But the problem is that once you start to use some of that chicken, you really now just have a very large cardboard box in your freezer with not that much chicken left in it. And you don't always know how much chicken is left in it because it's all inside of a cardboard box. So moving to these, they are semi-clear. I can see exactly how many packages of chicken I have. I can stack them all in. I use the taller ones for my hamburger. So when I vacuum seal that, we smush it flat, almost like we're smushing it as flat as we can, like a book, and a little bit wider. So they look, I'm looking around me like I have something as an example here. Ooh, this is my kid's ping pong paddle. But you're going for like almost this width on our hamburger and as flat as we possibly can. So going with this taller one, I'm literally like stacking the hamburger in like books on a bookshelf. Or magazines, if we were to look at them that way, that thin. So that taller one has worked well for that. I've also started to use these bins to handle frozen veggies. So whether they come out of the garden and they're vacuum sealed or whether I bought the frozen Green Giant bagged veggies, bags of things that are all funky shapes and sizes do not stack in a freezer. So going with the bin method has been really good for us to keep like items together without finding like this chaos as they all move over here and some slide over here. So I would highly recommend these. They have held up really well in the freezer. You don't always know how plastic's gonna do in the freezer, but none have broken in the last, it might even have been 2 years ago that we grabbed them. So highly recommend the $5, just wait for the sale. We see them probably every month to 6 weeks that Target does put those on sale. but they've been an easy one. Now, for those of you who do not have a chest freezer, what I would actually recommend for anyone, do not have a stand-up freezer, for anyone that does have a chest freezer, my go-to way to organize that, open the lid and look in the huge chest freezer, and a really easy way to organize that is actually using reusable bags from the grocery store. Because now I can actually just lift out one set of bags and see what's underneath it. Versus just the chaos of things getting dumped. You could try bins, and maybe these larger bins with handles would also work for you, so you can lift this one up and get to the bin that's underneath it. That is not one that I've tried, but I would be game if I had a chest freezer. And there is a point in our life where we did, but eventually kind of worked up to the stand-up freezer that we have now, really because we inherited it. But you get the point. That chest freezer, though, can be chaos, and keeping just this big box of frozen goods semi-organized, it's important, but it can get out of hand quickly. So going with the reusable grocery bags or the larger bins, maybe even a milk crate, is a great way to say, you know what, this one's gonna all be veggies. This one's going to be desserts, whatever your organization might be, that you're just putting like items together. Now, in a chest freezer, in a stand-up freezer, I'm not saying, guys, that I have like one bin for one veggie. Maybe if our garden produced a ton that year and we've put up veggies, we do have a lot of squash right now, but typically for us, I just have a bin that is veggies of any variety, and a bin that is chicken, and a bin that is sausage, and a bin that is hamburger. So like items, maybe like types of meats, but not always the same exact product when it comes to those vegetables, will be a little bit easier to keep organized for you. And this guy, in case anyone's wondering, I'm pretty sure my husband ordered from Walmart. Pretty sure that's what I saw come. So it's just a Sterilite clear bin. And he didn't order it for the freezer. He ordered it for that kitchen medicine cabinet. I came in and he had taken everything from that kitchen medicine cabinet and just shoved it in a bin. I was like, whoo, cannot handle that. So we solved some organization this weekend, but I do think that bin from Walmart would probably be fine in a freezer as well. I just don't have the experience with it like I do with those Target ones, knowing that they have handled the cold and have held up well. Now, another element to the freezer, and this is a really good one no matter what type of freezer you have, is actually keeping a piece of paper on the outside of the freezer with an idea of what is inside the freezer. What I mean by that is not like tick marks and marking something off when you take it out, because in my world that wouldn't work. I send way too many times, it's the kids, I'm like, oh, go get hamburger from the freezer. They would not mark it off. What we do is more writing down, when did it go in there? Oh, we bought a case of chicken on August 1st of 2025. I don't usually need the year. We go through them pretty fast. But the reason that you can do that, though, is helping you. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm always like, oh, I just bought that. I know we have that. I just bought that. No, most of the time I did not just buy it. I bought it months ago, but my brain thinks that it was like last week. So having it on a sheet of paper on the outside of the freezer is giving me a general inventory of what is in there and saying boneless, skinless chicken breast, 40 pounds, August 1st. So that I have this is when it went in. I'm gonna have probably enough chicken to last us, now that 2 people are gone around here, that's gonna last us quite a while, potentially looking at needing to get more chicken late November, probably in our world. But come November, when I'm like, oh, we should be good, I look back at that and I'm like, no, I bought chicken in August, we're not good anymore. Or if we put a bunch of veggies in, when did we put the veggies in? Now, you should obviously have some of these dates on the products that you're freezing as well. But again, it's just a general inventory on the door, outside door of the freezer, is a good way to just help anyone else's brain that is like mine and thinks that you just bought it, 2 weeks ago and you really bought it 3 months ago. It will jog your memory and help you to catch that. I know folks that also do something similar in their pantry, keeping an inventory in the pantry. That would also not work in my world. Too many hands going in and out of the pantry. But it doesn't hurt if you do have a lot of something that you've at least documented. Maybe you stuck it in a unique spot. Like, hey, I've got a lot of this. I don't have a lot of pantry space. A long time ago, my overflow was in bins under the bed. So we lived in a little rental apartment. We just had started couponing, just started figuring it all out. I'm buying 6 weeks worth of things. This was when my twins were like 1, so it's a very long time ago. And the one cabinet that I had in this little rental house was literally a cabinet, like that you would put your glasses and your dishes in. So overflow had to go somewhere else. We kept canned goods under our shoes in the closet, but most of them lived under the bed. So leaving yourself a note, hey, I got more pickles. I got more of this, whatever is under the bed, so that I at least know where I've stuck it, because I can't see it. It's completely out of sight, out of mind at that point. So if you're going to have to get creative with where you're sticking things, definitely leave yourself some notes so that you know where they are. Now, some other things that we use in the pantry, to jump back to the pantry for a second, I am a big fan of these little tiny caddies. So we have a couple of these. One that lives we have a shelf that's looking at you. The end of the shelf is looking at you when you walk in the door. So I've stuck a few of these clear caddies to that. And this is what I keep, like Lipton onion soup mixes, some of those other little seasoning packets and whatnot. They live in those shelves. Just little tiny things. Maybe you open, I don't know if, again, I'm giving away like how our chaos works here, but you open like an old El Paso taco kit, but you don't end up using the seasoning mix from the taco kit. You use your own that night, or whatever you might have. Well, I'll write what it was because it's not usually on the package, and it will go in the bin so that we save it for later. So those have also been really helpful for organizing just those little tiny things. They're command strips, they come right off. Another element to organizing your pantry as well, let's see, I thought I had pulled it up so that we could see it. Oh, there we go, is utilizing the back of your door space. So if you've got that tiny space, make sure you're not wasting space. And the back of your door is a huge way to save. So this actually is the closet-made pantry organizer. Same can be in your bedroom, right? We can use the shoe organizer as well. So if you don't, if you want to go super cheap, the basic hang over the door shoe organizer can still hold a number of sauces and seasoning mixes and whatever else you may want to be. This guy's a little more expensive. It's actually permanent. It's going to screw into the door, but going with that over the door shoe hanger works great too. You're just utilizing space that you kind of forget that you have. It is a good way to make things front and center and to be able to keep an eye on what you have as well. Also a really big fan of clear bins, even in the pantry. So this guy that I keep holding up, little big for the pantry, but any sort of bin, any sort of whatever organizer you have. This is probably not the right thing to hold up here. This is my husband's tech box to go with the mic, and it's just all of his random things. But this size, really good size, it's like the shoebox size, for organizing kids' snacks, all those little bars. Once they open the box and the box explodes, that you're going with that bin to kind of hold some of these things together. The real purpose here is that once the explosion happens, the shelf is just only going downhill. This is, like laws of thermodynamics. Nothing's going to get better here. It's only going to get worse. And that is truly happening in your pantry. So this is why bins are coming into play. If you want to do full-on plastic containers with lids, you can, but just open bins is a great way to claim dominion over that space. You can even start by putting the bars and the snacks in them when they're still in the package, so that the kids will get the thought that in the end, once the package opens or the package bursts open, it still stays in the box, right? Whatever we can do to train them. But that is a good way to hopefully make some of those spaces stay together. Depending on the age of your kids, I do recommend plastic bins for your cereal as well. If they are not closing things up, or you have other people in the house that don't close things up, having that plastic cereal organizer, it's not really an organizer, but it's like a storage container for cereal, is saving you money. Now, these are not always the cheapest things to grab, or grab a whole set of plastic food storage bins, and there'll usually be some cereal sizes in there. But when you think about the amount of cereal that can go bad if we don't close it up, this is where I would recommend having one. So it just depends on how often you eat it. My kids find it humorous how many of their friends will tell them, oh, we don't eat cereal, or cereal is only for special moments. My parents never purchase it because it's too expensive. In our world, cereal is the cheapest thing I can buy, right? It's always buy one, get one. It always has coupons and Ibotta offers. So cereal is a go-to at breakfast, but keeping that under control can be tricky. So for us, we've set some rules. You can only have one type open at a time. We're not going to have multiple of the same box, and making sure that everyone knows fully how to close a cereal box. And again, if your kids are too young, going to the plastic storage bins if you need to do that. I don't want to throw away cereal when it goes bad. That is, again, just throwing away money. Even if I got it on sale at a good price, just throwing away money. So I do love food storage bins. A few years ago, I went to plastic containers for all of our like flour and sugar, those types of items as well. And I'm not opposed to these. You can actually see purchased, whoa, that was 6 years ago. See, here I am again with my like, oh, I just bought that like last year. Purchased it 6 years ago on this one. So these are large bins for beans, rice, sugar, flour, or getting even a bigger set. So that was a 4-pack, but you'll find a number of larger sets down here available. And there's a ton of options on Amazon as well. But going with this type of setup for all of our flour, sugar, all the things that just come in random sized bags and packages, once we moved them to these containers, that also brought dominion to that shelf as well. That open bag of flour and that open bag of sugar, it doesn't stack. It doesn't stay closed. And it only takes one episode of dealing with like pantry moths that will make you quickly decide that you're going to organize in a different manner. I don't want to deal with pantry moths again. So that is why we decided, yeah, we're going to go with the plastic bins so that we don't have to deal with any sort of losing food is really what it comes down to. So I do recommend those as well in the pantry. Now, how do you, sorry guys, how do you make sure that you're using the oldest thing in the pantry rather than the newest? So this is really going to come down to training the folks that are putting away your groceries, whether it's you or your husband or your kids, in getting in the habit of pushing anything that's there to the front and putting anything new behind it. So our goal, not to run out, right? Our goal is to buy it when it's on sale, but maybe to still have one in the pantry. So I'm not completely out waiting for the next sale. So whatever is there, just pushing it to the front, the new item going in behind it. It only takes a second to learn it. It's just getting into the habit of doing it every single time. So you're gonna wanna do that on all your canned and packaged. It's not as important if you're doing a good job of only buying 6 weeks, but if you do ever hit a sale and you go overboard and you come home with 10 cans of something, you're gonna quickly realize, okay, we have to re-implement the making sure we use the oldest one here, because it's really a bummer when you realize you didn't do that and you have a very old can. We actually have a secondary fridge that it's an old fridge, but we keep it in the garage as well. And my kids call it the milk fridge because they could drink like an entire cow. So every week I go and buy 2 gallons of milk at the grocery store. One lives inside, one lives in the garage fridge, along with other things. But with that milk, even teaching them, if we end up having that second gallon is still in the fridge when I buy 2 more next week, that everyone is paying attention to which one comes in the house, that we don't end up leaving 1 poor gallon of milk there with bad dates. So some of this is like life skills, right? Making sure we're good. I know we're probably one of the few families that goes through that much milk and needs to have a plan to make sure that you're using the right gallon. But that's the same concept that we're using in the pantry. Like, we get it with milk. Milk only has a shelf life of 8 to 10 days, depending on when you bought it. So it's putting that same concept into play in the pantry and the freezer, so that, again, all the old items getting pulled to the front, new items getting put behind. The same even in my bins in the pantry, in the freezer. If I've got a bin of frozen veggies, I don't want to put new veggies on top. And it's hard because I don't want to really empty the whole bin either. So what I would really recommend in that setting, and that's why when I showed you the Target ones, they're smaller and they do kind of work. So for me, I may have 2 bins of veggies really. One is the newer items, one is what was already in there, depending on how much I grabbed. I mean, if I grabbed like 1 bag, that's not a big deal. I can move that around. I can figure out where I need to put it. But if I've got a lot, usually they're buy one, get one. Usually I'm buying quite a bit. This is where we tend to go for most of our vegetables now, is not canned, but frozen. Then all the new are gonna go into a separate bin. And I just know we always use left to right. So whatever's in the left, pull from the left. The one next to it is the one that we're gonna work into. And then when that one's empty, we'll just take it out and move it over. So it makes it a little easier to, if you're stocking up and in the freezer and you're trying to make sure that we're using older rather than the newer items. Okay, might be a little overkill for some of you, might not be where you are in your pantry mode, but we are trying to get to that 6-week mark. Now, what about other items? So your laundry items, your cleaning supplies, things like that. I would actually recommend that you stick to the specific area that you want them to be in, because those are going to control how much you can purchase. And this is where we can help ourselves not try to purchase an entire grocery store. That's not our plan. I like to use my garage for other things. It is not to hold a year's worth of laundry detergent. I don't need it. I promise you these things will go on sale. So I have one cabinet right behind my washing machine. It's gonna hold my laundry detergent, my dryer sheets, my fabric softener, and some other cleaning supplies. When it's full, it's full. I don't need any more. And guys, you may not realize it, but laundry detergent actually goes bad. So a lot of laundry detergents, unless you're buying the free and clear, but even those go bad, most of them have a shelf life of about 6 months. And then the chemicals that are in them start to break down. And if you've not seen it, dig through some old detergent and you will see it. You will start to see, ooh, that is not the color that is supposed to be. And maybe it still works great, but there's also a point where you have to really question, is this something that I want to keep using? I don't know. I want to make sure that oh goodness. Yeah, you should send me a screenshot of that, Carrie. I can only imagine. There are moments that I see like me frozen and it gets a little scary. So you really don't want to overbuy on these items, even if the price seems crazy. We've got Purex for like 99 cents this week in Walgreens. Yeah, that's a good price. But I promise you, we see similar prices. So stick with what you need, even there, and hold yourself back. So use whatever space you have. If your washing machine is on a pedestal, so you have that drawer underneath it, when that drawer is full, you're done buying detergents. I promise you more deals will come. I do not need to buy every single week, every single deal. So my laundry items live in the laundry room. I have the pedestal under the washer. It's actually filled with empty egg cartons because we have chickens and you gotta keep egg cartons somewhere. So the cabinet is where we're keeping all of the laundry products. When it's full, it's full. And under my kitchen sink is where I'm keeping all the cleaning supplies. And when it's full, it is also full. Now that is also an area that can be chaotic. And I'd also recommend bins or going with, we see a lot of the sink, like under sink shelves. I think that's what we're gonna call it, to find a good idea on, yes, these guys right here is what I would probably recommend going with something like this. Maybe not this exact one, but you can always hunt around and find something that's gonna work for you. Going with, oh, come on, stick on the picture, an under sink shelf that's gonna help you reach the things in the back, or just something super basic that is literally just a wire shelf. So I have one of those under our sink. I don't have what I just showed you, but I have a wire shelf. I think it was my mother's before I got married. It's very old, but all it does is just gives me a second level. So I can have some things underneath it and I can have things on top of it. The top of it is really where I stack like sponges and things like that, that if I put them lower, they're super tiny and they get lost underneath all the cleaning supplies. I also recommend that you just go ahead and organize, like split the under sink area in half and make half like dishes. So you've got your laundry detergent, your dish soap, whatever else you might have. I've got garbage disposal cleaner. Some of my kitchen cleaner is under there too, like kitchen sink things. But then the other side is household cleaners. So it's your counter cleaner, it's carpet cleaner, you know, whatever else is left. When under here is full, I don't need to purchase anymore. Having it divided in half though, so half is dish, maybe dish kitchen, I guess. Kitchen's kind of gone into there. And the other half is like the rest of the house cleaners, does still help me keep an eye on where we are. Are we good on dish soap and dish detergent? Or am I running low and I need to start to grab deals on those items? So again, though, I'm still held back to the amount of space under my kitchen sink. Beyond that, I am not taking over extra storage for things that I'm really not ever gonna need. I mean, you're not gonna wash dishes any more frequently just because you bought 42 bottles of something. You just aren't. So 6 weeks worth, that's what we're aiming for. And it will fit under that space, I promise. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Carrie just commented, and it's a good time to pause and mention it to everyone else. My school supply post made you go to Staples tonight and get school supplies for the year. It is, so just as a heads up to anyone in case you didn't see it, we're there, and school supplies, they will all end this week. So all the Target deals, Walmart deals in store have already ended, but Walmart deals online will also end. I did a big roundup, and I can stick this in the comment for you guys too, but I did a big roundup of like who has the cheapest products and prices right now. They're all still running, but through Saturday night. So this is your final reminder to stock up. And Carrie, I'm with you. Actually, I don't need school supplies for my kids, but it's my final. I've been putting it off and really need to finish purchasing for a big Operation Christmas Child packing party that we have in November. And it really brings me pain to pay full price for school supplies in November. So it is a yes. I kind of wrote that post for me so that I would remember to purchase crayons in bulk at 50 cents a box versus way more come November. So if you're in my boat, you don't even need the school supplies. You should still grab them right now. Oh, and Karen, to back up, Karen says, I write the buy date on the item to make sure that the newer ones are in the back. That's a great way too. So not necessarily looking at the expiration date, but when did I buy it, going on that product so that I know that it's always behind the one that was purchased a long time ago versus last week. That's a great option, Karen. And Wendy says, I'm late to the party. I use the expandable magazine gadget, yes, years ago in your upright freezer. And that is another one. So, and I did use that for a long time. I just, even then it wasn't keeping funky shaped sizes of vacuum sealed bags the way I wanted it to. So that's why we moved to the plastic bins. Let's see, what are we gonna call that? Expandable magazine holder. That is the best way to describe that. So I can show you a picture. So it's something similar to any of these. These stands move around, and things have changed through the years too, but this one you can literally take and just like move over. So you're creating pockets that are just like bins stacked next to each other for however you want to use it. It helps things to stand up. So again, if you've taken that hamburger and you've made it as flat as you possibly can, and you have it as close to, book size, it's going to stack in nicely in those. There's lots of different setups that you can do. I would probably lean towards that third one on the side, though these guys work well too if you can move that center piece. So I don't want one that's already set in 4 compartments. I want it to be adjustable, which is where this guy right here is going to come in. But thank you for reminding me of that, Wendy. It's been a few years since we've had that in our freezer, but it was a great way to do it. It was really the bags of chicken, I think, that did me in. And just one day I went crazy and Target had the bins on sale. I'm like, this is it. We're giving up. But it was a good switch. It was good for my mental health. I stood out there with gloves on for like an hour, reorganizing the freezer with bins. And everyone was like, I don't know what's up with her, but I came inside and I was very content with myself and what I had done. Okay, so lots of things that you could use there. One other thing when you're thinking about the pantry is, what about extra storage for large things? So again, this depends on your family. My husband during COVID went big into bread. I don't think he's alone. I think there was a lot of the world that made a lot of bread during COVID. But with that, we had already had 1 5-gallon bucket of rice, and now we're up to like 3 5-gallon buckets. They live outside of the pantry in the little hallway between the pantry and the kitchen. It's not the ideal place, but I do recommend 5-gallon food grade buckets, and you will find food grade lids for them. Pretty sure you can get those also there we go. Yes, on Amazon. So a 5-gallon bucket with a food grade lid lets you spin the lid off, like this little video is showing us, though they're fishing with it. But the lid literally spins right off, so I can get out whatever we needed. I do not keep them in my pantry. They live outside my pantry. My pantry just doesn't, it's not that tall to get a 5-gallon bucket in. But for us, we eat a lot of rice. So rice is purchased in bulk, flour, and then we had sugar for a bit in one. I think we're still finishing off the sugar that was in one. So whatever you may end up needing to do, but purchasing those things in bulk is a huge way to save if you're regularly grabbing them, but I still don't want them to go bad. So they still need to live somewhere. I can't just have them folded up, wadded up and hope that that's closed up enough. So those 5-gallon food grade buckets, they're $10 on Amazon. It's not a huge purchase to grab those, and you're getting it locked down and ready to go, keeping it as close to, a safe airtight seal that you're going to get on a 5-gallon bucket. And Lily, I agree. Lily says, I love it when things already come vacuum sealed, like the tenderloins. So you can just shove those $5 buy one, get one tenderloins right into the freezer. I agree. And yes, Lily, you can. So you can totally get a Home Depot bucket if you wanted to, Home Depot Lowe's bucket. Don't buy the bucket on Amazon. What you want is the food grade lid. And some people will even say a food grade bucket, but we're keeping it in the bag. I'm not dumping the rice into the bucket. I'm not dumping the flour into the bucket. So I would be fine with it being in that Lowe's or that Food Lion bucket. It just depends on whether you're going to keep it in the package. But that food grade lid with that spin top lid, this one's even saying we've purchased this one other time, is a go-to for getting that all the way tight. It's got a rubber gasket in there. And that's where, if anything's going to touch the top, it is going to be that. So that's what I would recommend as you're digging through. Just to keep something large. And again, you're not going to keep a ton of things in this, but for us buying A 30-pound bag of rice, even at Costco and Sam's, we're talking like 25 cents a pound. It's crazy cheap versus maybe finding rice at $1 a pound on sale in the grocery store. So whenever we can buy rice in bulk, it's a huge savings. I could go really big and go to the chef's store. They sell it in 50-pound bags, but that would take us close to a year to use. So don't do that. Rice does go bad. Purchase a little bit big of a bag for you, but not a gigantic bag. So rice, flour, sugar, those are decent things to stock up on in the 5-gallon bucket size. But you know your family and you know what you're going to use. So for us, there was a bit of baking there for a long while. And that's what kind of moved us into the 5-gallon bucket world. We'd already always had a rice bucket, but now we have the flour and the sugar bucket that have joined them. Because Lily mentioned it, it does remind me I didn't really talk about vacuum sealing at all, and that is really an element here. So that's not organization for your freezer, but it is a requirement for your freezer. Our goal is to buy enough to last a while. So we're buying in bulk. We're buying that 40-pound box of chicken. That's gonna take me 2.5 to 3 months to eat. So that's out to like 12, 13 weeks. A Ziploc bag is good. I used to say for 6 weeks. Guys, I put something in a Ziploc bag and pulled it out yesterday for Sunday lunch, and it was already covered in ice, and it had only been in the freezer for maybe 3 weeks. So a Ziploc bag, just in my world, I decided yesterday, it isn't an option. That isn't how food needs to go in the freezer. It needs to go in the freezer vacuum sealed, because the goal is no air and no added moisture so that we don't get the freezer burn and we don't get all the ice crystals. So you need a vacuum sealer. If you are putting food up for any length of time, you need it. It's going to save you money. Think about the amount of food you're not wasting on getting freezer burnt, on growing ice crystals, and you can't even tell what's in it anymore. It is going to save you money. So I do recommend the Food Saver vacuum sealers. It's the name brand. But there are a lot of vacuum sealers that are out there. You'll find a number of weird name brands on Amazon. Just look at the ratings. You're looking for one that has great ratings time and time again, and a number of them. We're not looking for 20 ratings. So since I still have this up, just to show you what I mean by that, this guy might have great ratings. It has 20 of them. This guy, a little bit lower, but 3,200 ratings. One of those is much more trustworthy than the other. So you're not only looking at the stars, you're looking at the number of overall ratings. One of them is very easy to fake, potentially, one is not. Now, this could be a very legit company. I don't know anything about them. It's just what's up on my screen. So it's a good way to show you what I mean by that. And the same if you're looking for that, just want to grab a cheap vacuum sealer, that's fine. But we want a good rating and a lot of ratings to help you decide that it's a decent product before you dive in on that. Vacuum sealing all your meat. I do recommend with vacuum seals that you just grab the roll of vacuum seal. Don't grab the bags. So you'll actually just Google or search Amazon for that one as well, but you're just looking for vacuum seal rolls. Again, look at the ratings. This one's got 60, I didn't mean to click through it, but 60,000 reviews and 4.6 stars. I would trust it. That's a lot of reviews there. So this is 50 feet of vacuum seal roll. You're gonna cut that off and you're gonna make bags first. You're gonna seal one part of it and then you're gonna stuff it with your food. Way, way cheaper than buying the pre-made vacuum seal bags that you're almost like gonna use like a Ziploc bag. They're already bags and you're gonna put food in them and just seal the tops. It only takes 1 extra second to cut it and seal the bottom and then seal the top. But you're gonna save so much money to do it this way. Not to mention you can size them to exactly what you need. And sometimes you'll make them a little too big, but you'll get a good groove going with the right size. But that's a big way to save some money. Just in general on supplies for the vacuum sealer. How long does it take us to go through one of these rolls? So this is a 50-foot roll, I would say, and this is a pack of 2. goodness, trying to think about that. That's a really good question, Carrie. I would say one roll would probably do 2 cases of chicken. So it's going to take us a while because I'm going to buy chicken and I'm going to buy hamburger in those really big quantities. So one roll is going to get me through an entire case of hamburger, an entire case of chicken. And then another little roll is going to last for, veggies that we're putting up from the garden or whatever else that we bought from the grocery store that might have been on clearance, and we're just putting up like one little tiny thing. But I would guess we probably buy a set of rolls once a year. So that's why I'm like, that's a really good question. It is not a regular purchase for us. It lasts a long time. And I would definitely say on these 50-foot ones that you'd be there. Now, some of these, like this guy down here, these are 16-foot rolls. That's a really big difference. So just so you're, it's hard to compare like apples to apples there. Make sure that you are comparing the right size. And here's one that says purchased one time. So you can see all the things that we have randomly tried. That was 2 50-foot rolls as well though. So they probably lasted us about a year. Okay. And Lily says, keep an eye on Aldi for the last every 6 months or so. They seem to have vacuum sealers for like $20. It's not going to sustain anything, but it might at least get you through. Perfect. Until you could save up for a nice one. So good to know. You'll also see Walmart sells them, and Walmart does sell the smaller ones. So just to pull that up for a second too. When I say smaller ones, these little tiny ones, I want to find one that's a good example price-wise, but they're all kind of expensive. Oh, here we go. So you will find something like this that you can grab, even at Walmart. The typical price for this is not $169. $29 is probably this guy's go-to price. This is not your most powerful vacuum sealer, and we have one this size that is a food saver. It is not my favorite. It is rare that I ever use it. It's the bigger ones that are stand-up. They just have way more suction. So you are wanting to look in that $80 to $120 range for a good vacuum sealer. But these $29 ones, they're always $29, by the way, are a good place to start. If I can't afford that 80 or that 80 to 120 range, this is still better than a Ziploc bag. I promise. You're still getting out the air way better than you can manually get it out, smushing the product. So I agree, whatever you can grab to get started, and then saving up, asking for Christmas. And we're getting there, right? We're totally in Christmas list season on those larger items. And again, if you're wanting to know on any of these, I have no clue on brands. I have heard of this Nesco before, and it has 14,000 reviews. So that's probably the route that I would look if I was looking for an Amazon brand, or Food Saver being the name brand, and kind of the go-to before we started seeing all these Chinese products come in. Food Saver was the one that's been around the longest as a US brand. Okay, Jill, great question. Best price and where to buy an Instant Pot. So if you could, I would hold out. That is a key item that goes on sale really starting in October. So we're gonna see a pre-Prime Day sale in like a month. So it's not a large holdout. We usually see Amazon try to hit October like, woohoo, we're here. In Amazon's world, Christmas basically starts on October 1st in their minds. So we're gonna have a really big Amazon sale the end of that first week in October. You're gonna see some great Instant Pot sales there, and you're gonna see other stores matching the same concept. So while Amazon may not have the best price, Target's gonna run sales, and Best Buy and Walmart. So that's where I would try to wait if you can, about a month out. Best price, it depends on the size that you're looking at, but we've seen a lot of good prices on them because it's really not a high item anymore. I mean, it is for the folks who don't own one, but the whole world bought one in their minds. And so they just really got to the point where they weren't selling. We saw them for next to nothing over the last couple of years. So we will still see some sales. I was gonna pull them up and see what current prices are. So current prices on these guys, I would probably say look for that $59.99 price around the Christmas sales. If you can hold out for that, that's about half of what the 6-quart is right now on Target site. It's currently $99. So looking for that, I would say $59 price is about where we're going to go to on best price this holiday season. And I've also had folks ask too, just a random unrelated question, but since it's kind of there with the Instant Pots, how will prices compare this year versus previous years? That's obviously up in the air, but I would say if you haven't seen large adjustments right now, that you're really not going to over the holiday season. So those sales, we really are a month away. And a lot of those products are already in the US. They're in the US or they're on their way, but they're arriving in the US here very soon. They're at the kind of distributing to stores, that side of things. So whatever is on the Christmas big products list was really ordered months and months ago in terms of logistics and how all this works. So a lot of these prices set, will we see some adjustments potentially, but I don't expect much more than what we've just already gotten used to this year. So when I say like $59 for the Instant Pot, that's pretty much what I expect. I don't expect like a $10 surcharge on any of this. It's just where things are going to be. I should do a couponer's guide to hosting during football season, from standard stuff like chips, dips, and snacks to the bigger things. Yeah. Well, thanks for putting me up against Monday Night Football, Lily. I feel kind of honored there. Honestly, the biggest way that I would recommend most people during football season is we're buying it when it's on sale. We're going to buy a lot of it if you're tailgating every single week. Don't buy enough for 6 weeks when you're literally using it every 6 weeks, or you're using it every single week. So buying a lot of it when it's on sale. And then the other big thing is splitting up with friends, right? So in the South, if you invite me over, the very next thing I'm supposed to say is, what can I bring? So if your friends aren't doing that, that you are instilling in them, hey, come, but bring this, is a great way to do it too. So getting in that habit can be a try. There's one little tiny thing we've done in our world here lately, and it's just silly, but I actually have decided that they taste better. But I've given up on baby carrots. That's been my way to save money in the last 2 weeks. Weird way to save money. I've given up on baby carrots. We've gone back to full-size adult carrots because they do taste better, and I can get a bag of full-size carrots cheaper than I can get baby carrots. There's still the same amount of carrots in both bags. And if anything, a lot of times I can get that 2-pound or that 3-pound bag of carrots even cheaper. So that's my little one. Maybe it's for you, kind of figuring out what are our go-to items and figuring out how I can stock up on those go-to items for tailgates or parties so that we're ready for it. I'm about to have to figure out how to get charcuterie for 200 people. So, if anyone wants to hit me up with their best charcuterie deals, I will take it as we ponder how to do light refreshments at what is now blown into a very large wedding this Christmas. I will take all the tips that you have, but those are my go-tos for tailgating for sure. Okay, and Carrie, what is going to be the hottest deals this Black Friday? Ooh, that's like really big open-ended question, and it kind of leaves me a little speechless. So we see so many new products every single year. I'm trying to think of what the really big ones are that people have been wanting. We've got some brand new phones and watches coming out next week from Apple. And from what I've heard, what Apple's coming out with is their thinking is going to be a pretty big change to what is on the market. So potentially some Apple products that are there. We're seeing a lot of sales on Apple Beats products right now in anticipation of what is coming with this Apple launch next week. That's September 12th, by the way, for anyone that's a big Apple fan. So you've got those new products. You also have a whole bunch of new toys that will launch at the beginning of October. So it's really hard to even know what those will be until that toy launch. We have a lot of big toy fairs in September as they announce what those toys are going to be. So I'm going to have to leave you hanging and not give you a solid answer there. I do think this is going to be a big Christmas for electronics. Most Christmases they try to push it, but I think you're going to see a lot of deals on electronics because people have been holding off on purchasing them this year. Not a lot. So we're going to see some sales there as we've got a lot of inventory in stores and we need to get rid of that inventory. So that would maybe be the one that I would keep eyes on. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I'll be back on tomorrow with CVS and Walgreens deals. It's a repeat week for both, but there are still some great deals to grab in both stores, definitely, if you did not shop last week. So join me tomorrow at 3. If you can't join in live, that's fine. It's always saved. You can watch on YouTube or Facebook later, or on Southern Savers. It's always saved as a post. And we'll be back next week with our Q&A. I'm pulling this up so I can tell you what I had planned on us talking about. I can't even think of what day of the week it is. We're going to do Amazon specific. So in the light of we're coming into October, we're going to talk subscribe and save and saving the most on Amazon purchases. So this is one that someone emailed and specifically asked for with details of how do we really get these deals on subscribe and save. So we're going to hit that. Amazon is making some changes. So if you've been sharing your Amazon family, that's out. You will not be able to do that as of October 1st. But with those changes, if you have been sharing your Amazon family, they are offering some pretty decent discounts. So check your email. If that is you, if you've got some folks that fall into that boat, we're dealing with that on the college side because we've had college students that have been just members of our Amazon account and they get kicked off now. All those years of wondering like, why would we even want Amazon student? This is where Amazon's going. They're wanting everyone. But let's talk about it. Let's hit it. Is it worth it? Let's talk subscribe and save. So that's where we're going to go next week on the Q&A. Join me tomorrow for drugstores, next Monday for Amazon deals. So I will catch you guys later. Thanks for joining me tonight. And